Welcome back to A Corporate Time. So the Nhl Playoffs are this week, or they're going on now.
Yeah, well, last year, or maybe even, it was last year, the Nhl Playoffs were single-handedly responsible for getting me into watching all of this season's hockey. Like, I've been watching a lot of Lightning games this season, and they're super-duper exciting and super fun, but playoff hockey might be the single most exciting sport I have ever seen. It's nuts.
So our buddy Justin, the bigwig at Cigar City, used to be Whopper.
I finally have reached a point where I feel guilty even saying that he was an intern that
Don't
did
mention it.
crazy
Don't
stuff.
bring him down.
I say it first to bring him down so he is at least closer to my level.
See, I have the opposite response. I don't want to do it anymore because I feel like he'll retaliate. I feel like he'll retaliate.
No,
what has he done to us?
Nothing. No, he's just so successful.
Besides not link us up so we can do business with Cigar City.
Well, he's above us.
Well,
he's a bigger deal.
He's trying to make deals with Joe Rogan. Now.
Yeah, exactly.
Not us. Anyway, no, I'm joking because he's the nicest guy that I've ever met.
He is.
But
his family is lovely.
I saw that in his text message. He did say that he was the nicest guy that he's ever met.
Yeah. So anyway, he flew out to Montreal to the game. Is he going to all games in the series?
I don't know. I know did he go to more than one? Because I only saw him at one.
Was it the Montreal game? I assumed that he lives in Tampa.
Well, they're in Tampa now. So the last one they did 2, and then they did 2, and now we're even at 2 and 2.
But did he go to all the games in the series?
I don't think so. I think he did 1.
So, but he went to the Tampa ones, right? Or no? That'd be weird. Like, he lives in Tampa. Like, I thought when you told me he was going to Montreal, I was like, oh, maybe he's going to every game in the series. Then that's cool. Like, you go to the Tampa ones, then you fly to Montreal. You go to that's baller status.
I don't know if he did that. We should reach out to him and see. But I know that he did 1, and I looked up tickets last night.
Well, that's even more bizarre to me because he lives in Tampa and he's a huge Tampa Bay Lightning fan.
So he didn't make the one last night, but he is going to be at the next one.
In Tampa.
Yes.
But he didn't make the last one.
Correct.
But he
said he was not going to be able to make it, but he will be there for Game 4.
We should call him and see what it was like. Like, even getting there, that sounds like a nightmare. Flying to Canada, getting to the game, and then getting back to the States. Aren't they mask crazy?
Not anymore.
He got 18-wheelers. They're
Toronto,
protesting. They're doing this. They're doing that.
That's 3 weeks ago.
You got the city wrong. It's Toronto.
Yeah, what were you saying, Montreal?
Oh,
you know what? Once you get past,
I don't know.
I feel like once you cross the border, all the little provinces and all that, it's all about the same.
It's the Toronto Maple Leafs, right?
Yes. Toronto Maple Leafs. They're very good.
The Maple Leaf threw me off because Montreal Maple. Anyway,
Maple Leaf had aggressive
What,
mascot,
the alliteration?
right?
Yeah.
The Montreal Maple. That has a nice ring to it.
I was talking.
I think it's the Montreal Canucks, right?
Sure.
Isn't that the name of the Montreal team? Am I wrong on that?
I don't know. We should talk to a hockey
Vancouver
person
Canucks
because
I don't know
screwing this all up.
Montreal Canadiens.
Canadians. Here's why I don't know any of the Canadian teams. They're not good.
Wow.
Take that.
So I was talking to a hockeyman at my son's birthday party.
Wait a minute. He got a
weekend.
private tour of the Hall of Fame by Phil Pritchard. How does he have all those connections?
He's a millionaire businessman that used to be my intern.
All right, we need to talk to him.
I mean, he is rubbing shoulders with bigwigs.
Oh, yeah. Without the biggest of the biggest.
Yeah. He's flying around in the Cigar City private jet or whatever.
Got that beer money.
Yeah. So I was talking to a hockeyman over the weekend, and we were talking about Florida hockey because the Florida Panthers are also in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then so with all obviously the success of Tampa Bay Lightning, I was like, man, it definitely makes sense that like if you grew up playing hockey, that maybe you are attracted to nicer weather in Florida, right?
Sure.
Like it can't be a coincidence that we have 2 Florida hockey teams that do so well, and then you add that there's no state tax in Florida. And then he started mentioning, like, because he knows way more about hockey.
How much play did they have in picking where they go, right?
Well, some of the free agents, like, once you get to a certain point, it's kind of like the NFL. Like, you can have your choice. Like, rookies.
But not everybody.
No. And they, obviously, like, they still want a competitive league, so it's not like all the best players are coming to Florida. And like you said, like rookies and people like in deals, they can't pick where they get traded.
Josh actually called in about this. It's exactly what you were talking about yesterday, I believe. Here, check this out.
Hello, Tom, Dan, and Sam. Pardon the wind and me being out of breath. I'm just out for a walk with my dogs. Anyway, I was listening to the episode of A Corporate Time when you were talking to Chris Qualtney from the Humidor and talking about hockey players playing in Florida as opposed to Canada. And yes, Canadian hockey players love going to cities like Florida and Tampa. One of the big reasons is the media here in Canadian cities like Toronto, Montreal, really, really bad. The media is just up their ass 24/7. And then they come down to Sunrise or Sunshine, Florida or Tampa, and it's like nobody even knows much about hockey for the most part, unless they're diehard fans. Low taxes, good weather, they're out of the spotlight. They can just make their millions in peace without the Canadian media barking down their...
Same thing I've heard from Brazilian and Portuguese soccer players. You know, I've heard that they love being here because the weather is very much like their home country. And they don't get mobbed by a psycho South American paparazzi. You know, like they're not getting hammered.
That's exactly what this hockey dad was saying, too. I forgot. He was like, you don't understand. He's like, they have to deal with, like, you know, TMZ-style media hounding them when they're out in public because everybody's so wrapped up in hockey. And here in Florida, they can just go to Publix. No one even knows who they are.
Yeah.
And, like, and you make
get yourself a chicken tender sub on sale this week.
Is there a Tampa Bay Lightning sub?
Yes.
What's on that?
Lightning. It's hard to get though. It's electric. Boogie,
I know there's a Buccaneers
oogie.
sub.
He also brought the point of there was some trade that some player went from Florida to Canada and Canada to Florida, and it was like a $4 million difference in their salary swing just based on taxes alone.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, that's
nuts.
Yeah. Like, because you think about it, like in Canada, you're not only you're paying probably the most taxes, right? Like they got a high tax rate up there, and then in Florida, like so, and they don't, I guess, compensate for that when it comes to like trades or like. You know, it's not like you get penalized for playing in Florida. It's like only benefit,
right?
Especially with the taxes and the money.
Yes.
So it seems kind of unfair. Like good for Florida, but if I was a Canadian team, I'd be like, well, this is unfair. Like, of course, everybody's going to be gravitated towards Florida with all the incentives beyond weather, like money, right? Like no one. You know,
I would agree with that unless you want to. Now, say I was trying to put myself in the position of being like a Steven Stamkos or somebody that like is playing on one of these teams, and whether or not it would carry more weight if I were in a traditional. Follow me with this: a traditional, stereotypical, amazing hockey franchise like the Chicago, the Blackhawks, or like the Rangers. You know what I mean? Like there's certain teams that when you hear them, you think. Like quintessential North American or let's say American hockey team.
I don't think the players care. Like the players just care about themselves and the money they make, right?
I think you're probably right.
I think they're pretty loyal.
Maybe what I'm exercising is dumb old man loyalty. Dumb old man loyalty is an old thing. Like look at Freddie Freeman from the Braves. I have my hat on today because it was last week was what's his name? Oh God, black guy, home run leader.
I have no idea.
Dan St. Pierre knows. I've got his hat on.
Yelling at me. I have no idea
Played
about
for the
baseball.
Braves.
Yeah.
Hank Aaron, thank you. It's
okay.
Hank Aaron week last week. My brain, see, this is why we got to do a warm-up. But my point is, I think staying with the same team because you have team loyalty, a la Freddie Freeman with the Braves, he just went to L.A. for big money. And not as much money as he probably could have gotten if he'd actually communicated with the teams and worked the deal to stay in the spot. But he didn't. He went out, and I think going out is the trend now. Well, staying with your team and being loyal to it, that's an old man thing. But that was years ago.
The team and all teams have proven that they don't have any loyalty towards the players.
No.
Like, So
why does the player have loyalty to the company store and all that? Why?
They will cut you as soon as you start playing bad or, like, you're too much money for them or, anything financial.
But I will say that growing up, when I watched sports as a young man, it was sort of, my dad didn't talk to me about it. I just assumed.
No, it used to be different.
It used to be different. I assumed that like Arsenal teams that I like, the Braves, let's say Lightning, Magic, anybody. One of the biggest life lessons I learned as a young man was watching Shaquille O'Neal go from the Magic to the Lakers. It blew my mind that he didn't stay because I'm like, you would want to stay with that team and win with that team because you're loyal to that team and the team's loyal to you. I had no idea that behind the scenes it was just a business. I had no idea about it either. I was naive and stupid.
Well, they tried to mask that for the longest time because
it makes it less fun. When you see all the dirty stuff behind the scenes and the backside, it just ruins it. So when you're a kid,
they try to hide it.
Yeah, when you're a kid and you really enjoy that, like you can't I'm virtually certain that my wife was going to cry when Freddie Freeman left the Braves last year. She was just like, it's like one of those things. I'm like, how could you do this?
I think social media changed that a lot because it used to be, you didn't really hear from the players themselves that much. That only in press conferences and stuff that very few people watch. So, there was a couple sports media channels and they reported the sports news. And now, with everything being wide open and you hear directly from the actual athlete.
I get my news from EJ. I don't know what you're talking about.
Then it's like
every Tuesday on Twitch.
People see oh, yeah, this is just a person that wants to do best for himself and his family and make as much money as possible. This is a business. They get drafted out of college or whatever, and they start playing for this team for the money, and they're not loyal to this particular team, especially because the team's not loyal to them, and they'll cut them in 1 second, and it's all about the money.
And that's all business.
That's it,
you could look at that. I mean, I've had things.
Corporations.
I've had dealings in my life where I looked at a corporation, and I'm like, hey, get my back here. And they're like, And I'm like, oh, wow. I was always getting your back. I was always sticking up for you. Why did I do that? Because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, and not all business operates that way, but the bigger it is and the more money involved, the more it operates that way because it has to. But, there's still smaller businesses that actually are loyal to their employees and stuff and will hold on to an employee or catch their back.
Yep, like the auto manufacturer Saturn. That's a good company. The last good company was Saturn, when they'd have their hometown barbecue. Anybody invited, you owned a Saturn, you drive up there to their plant, you park in the parking lot, and the Hebrew Nationals are on me.
I want to give a prize to any listener
that went to the Saturn barbecue?
No, that is driving a Saturn right now.
Oh, we got a lot. Oh, we're the #1 Saturn show. We are.
I don't even...
Can we get a Saturn? And is there?
Would you recognize?
Let's do Tom and Dan's Saturn barbecue. Let's bring back the Saturn barbecue.
But you can only come if you have a Saturn.
Correct. Yeah. It's the only way we can afford it.
Right.
But you come to the bar and then you park
Those are my favorite commercials. They'd be every year because we're such a different car manufacturer. We have a barbecue where everybody that owns a Saturn can drive to the factory and sit in the parking lot and eat hot dogs.
When did they stop making Saturns?
2010.
How long?
On Halloween, for some reason.
Oh, that's spooky. Right? Do this on your show. You heard about this one?
I should look into it.
Saturn Ghost.
So, do you think there's the last time you could only have the newest Saturn you could only have is 2010.
Yes.
What's the chances it's still running right now?
Oh, totally.
12 years from later?
Yeah.
Do you think those things are a hunk of garbage?
I bet it's still running. If the Tom and Dan truck is being driven daily by Falcon or Jones,
yeah, but that's a Ford. My pop said
I'm pretty mad.
Only drove Fords.
I'm pretty mad at Ford right now because do you know what today is? Today is 5 days past 1 year when I ordered my Bronco.
Yeah, well, no one can get cars, though.
There was an article written on February of 2022 that asks if Saturn cars are reliable, and it says yes because they are still running. They said the fact that you can still see Saturns running around to this day means that they're pretty reliable.
I'm pro Saturn, man. We're bringing it back. Saturn barbecue. Tom and Dan Saturn barbecue. I think it's been long enough where they won't sue us.
What kind of Saturn did they make? Was it?
We had the Saturn Sky Roadster. That one I know from Project Runway. It was one of the prizes. They'd be like, "Hi, you're gonna win a Saturn Sky Roadster."
Hold on, Daniel, bring up the types because I only recognize the regular.
There's the compact sedan or the coupe, the station wagon. There's the Saturn L series, which is a mid-size sedan and station wagon.
Saturn L.
Saturn View, which is a compact crossover, the Saturn Ion, which is a compact sedan and quad coupe, Saturn Relay, which is a minivan, Saturn Sky, which is a roadster, the EV1, which is an electric Saturn.
Yeah, they were ahead of their time. Ahead of their time. Mr. Saturn was
Between
a smart
1996
boy.
and 1999, they produced an electric Saturn. Never heard of it.
In 96?
Yes, I was 10 years old.
Dude, Saturn
Outlook,
Hold on.
Saturn
Sam
Aura.
still had a mullet when they had the Saturn EV.
Yeah.
Saturn had an electric car in 1996?
Yeah.
Way ahead of
The
its
That's
time.
EV1.
insane.
And you could have gotten free hot dogs at the barbecue.
Gas was only 90 cents or
Oh,
less.
don't talk
89
about it.
cents.
People get mad about it.
No, but I'm saying, like, that's crazy that they...
It was the first mass-produced and purpose-designed electric vehicle of the modern era from a major automaker.
Hold on. Let's buy a 1996 electric Saturn.
Let's do it, dude.
Are you
Where do you charge that
What's the
thing?
range? 5 miles? Like, seriously. You put... You're like, this takes 800 Ds. Like, what? How many?
Don't say it takes 800 Ds. Almost everything we have takes 800 Ds. Everything I love takes 800 Ds.
Oh, because they didn't sell, they ended up crushing most of them.
No, don't
Yeah.
crush them, Saturn, you idiots.
They said they ended up crushing most of the cars regardless of protesting customers. People were protesting this.
Don't trash my
Oh,
car.
man, I got to look into this. This is crazy.
Hold on.
I've been a massive
People
fan.
are mad. They're like, electric. Get them.
No, they were mad that they were crushing them because they were fans of it.
Yeah, like the cars were
I thought-
fine. They gotta get rid of them. Okay, we gotta crush them. We got orders. We gotta crush them. But don't crush
GM
them.
said it wasn't profitable, so they ended up crushing most of them. And people were protesting the crushing.
Are there...
Don't
like,
crush the Saturns.
look up Saturn electric vehicle for sale. Is there any one for sale at all on the internet anywhere? Like on eBay somewhere?
I'm searching right now live with this.
There's got to be one.
Oh, there's one on Carvana. It's in the machine.
There's got to be one for sale worldwide, right?
Yeah, there is one on Carvana. 16.9.
16 grand? What is it?
Let's get it.
Oh no, we didn't find any exact matches. You suck, Carvana.
I got one that's just the shell that's for sale.
Because the guts probably doesn't work anymore, right?
I don't know.
The battery, think about the battery technology from 96. Like, what the hell what was it? Like, what, I want to know the details. Like, what was the range? It had to have been a hybrid, right?
What
Or
was
is
the
it
name
pure
of
electric?
this model? The EV1?
EV1.
Okay, I got some bad news. There are only 40 EV1s still on the road. So for us to find one, we're going to have to get out our wallets.
But there's none for sale.
Well, they're highly collectible. Like with anything that people love.
Go to the Wikipedia. I want to see I want to see what the distance was and what the hell it even was. Like, I didn't even know they
didn't either.
even produced, or any big manufacturer even produced an electric vehicle in the 90s.
Okay,
It's crazy to me.
The GM CEO at the time was Rick Wagoner, which is a great name for a car guy. The EV1, he said, he's quoted as saying, the EV1 is more than a car. It's a path to national salvation. So they started pumping these out. The range was 100 miles.
Not bad for in the 90s,
I
right?
got to agree with you.
Like, hold on. Like,
Only 40 have been preserved.
Now I'm mad that the maximum range is only like 3 times that now. Like 25
not
years
even.
later.
Most of my
almost
like
30 years.
Bring back the Saturn.
260 miles, 270 miles.
Like,
I mean, like
in
really?
25 years, like we all have iPhones that can do anything, and the range only tripled from the 90s Saturn. Well, that's crazy.
Okay, so many factors contributed to the failure of the car, but they don't consider it technically a failure. The original version's range was 100 miles. A lot of people failed to understand that the EV1 was a commuter car, not supposedly like an...
Gotcha.
Yeah, but, you know, people in North America, our cities are not, for the most part, close together like Europe, right? So we never think of that. We always want big cars that we can go long distances in.
Well, and of course, you couldn't charge this thing anywhere. There's still payphones in 96. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you had to you could never get away from your house, or you had to bring your adapter with you or something, right?
The car was super fast. A photographer who shot many of the EV1's advertising pictures, but they did make the batteries extremely heavy, and the rear axle was narrower in the front, so the handling felt really weird.
Yeah, because the battery technology, I'm sure, like the heavy ass 90s batteries in there.
So it was a battery paddle that you would slide in between the headlights. And the GM provided a home charger, which was required for fast charging of the car. This is crazy.
Okay, I'm
bring
gonna
it back.
I'm gonna say something to you and Tom that you would definitely that you
There's
both.
already a million electric cars.
No, I want this one.
I'll say something to you guys that I bet both of you believe. If I'd have known that this existed at that time, I probably would have put my name on the list for that as an early adopter. I mean, you guys know me. I like this kind of stuff. I would have liked to have had an EV back in the day. I think that would be rad.
But there's no use for it. Like, like I said, gas was 85 cents. So everybody's like, what the hell do I need that?
Right.
Like, $10 I fill in my tank.
And Sam's exactly correct that on July 24th of 2003, General Motors, to the chagrin of everybody standing around protesting, started crushing all of the ones they had.
Why would they do that?
It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Why not just sell them off?
Yeah.
Somebody would buy them.
And apparently people were there like, stop. They're like, crush them all in front of the people.
Weird.
It is weird.
I wonder if somehow,
and it's a huge collector's item. So look, if you got one of these, we'll take it.
Yeah,
but
hell yeah.
but you could probably sell it and make some money.
Well, because you got to think about the politics back in the 90s. Like, I'm sure when they started coming out with electric vehicles, like they got a huge amount of pressure put on them, not only by their own parent company, but other companies. Like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Like, we are all in on gas vehicles. You can't be messing around with an electric car. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's a business back then. It's like gas prices are low, so there'll be no reason. Like,
as of 2019, there was one that was abandoned in an Atlanta parking garage. It's just sitting there, flat tires, dusty.
That's
think it's still there?
That's the one you want. That's a good man.
Okay, so as far as like, so I'm sure as we progress, right? Like, in 20 years, I imagine the majority of cars are going to be electric, right? Like, just through obvious evolution.
It's looking that way. I mean, I don't think
GM donated a handful to museums and schools. We got to find these things.
Yeah, well, I would love to just drive one just to see what it's like.
So there are going to be people that start collecting electric cars and old electric cars, right?
Just like Cadillac Pat, certified crazy person, collects old cell phones that don't work.
Well, it's like, someone's going to want the first generation Tesla and like stuff like that. And I bet you there are people out there that are trying to get their hands on
My wife still has a first generation iPod.
Who was this couldn't have been the first big manufacturer to produce an electric car, right?
They'd been doing it for years and years.
So did they do electric cars in the 80s?
I think so.
But big, like,
I want to say one of the first electric cars was even brought up like in the 50s.
First electric car in the United States was developed in 1890.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm talking about like a big auto manufacturer,
right?
Like actually manufacturing for mass
we'll have
distribution.
To look into the history of the electric car.
Well, I mean, there definitely was one back when everybody was obsessed with the House of the Future. Like when the music was all ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Ding 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 ding.
Because the electric motor and the battery system, I mean, you could definitely do it. It's just I was wondering about like big manufacturers. Like, this is the first I've ever heard of Saturn or any like big brand.
It fits the brand too, because with their whole like space vibe, it's kind of like Saturn. Oh, it's an EV. I'd be like, okay, makes sense. I would have had one, dude.
All right, bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Dan St. Pierre's here. How you doing, Dan?
Hello.
The better of Dan's, and just like clockwork, we got our lawn guy outside. He's like, Dan St. Pierre from Tuffy's is here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to blow right next to his window.
Of course, Tuffy's Bottle Shop and Lounge, and you guys are, throwing a big anniversary party, correct?
Yeah, we've got our 4-year this Saturday coming up on the 14th.
That is insane to me. I remember when you guys built Tuffy's.
I prefer to say 2.5, 3, because COVID has stolen my concept of time.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Like, I have no idea. I was talking to a guy this morning about our Tom and Dan app, and he was like, how long have you had there? I'm just going back and forth, and he had to correct me and tell me how long we've had an app. I don't even know how to do time anymore, because
if someone would have asked me, like, hey, when was Tuffy started?
2 years ago.
Yeah, I would have said 2 years. And it makes sense because it seems like we lost 2 years.
Yeah.
So, like, 2020, 2021 is like,
it was
basically
raining
just
heavy.
Smushed together, disappeared.
I was in the courtyard, raining heavy. I just gone out there. I was walking around. I went and I sat in like the houseboat seats, came in. I had a cider. I drove home. Like that 2 years ago. Guarantee it. I guarantee it. I'll set my watch to it.
So tell us about the anniversary party.
Well, we've had the road construction out front, and that's coming to an end. So we're happy to report that it will be a street festival. So
all right.
we're going to be bringing the stage out, putting the stage in the street, We've got several bands coming. The headliners, North Mississippi All-Stars. We had them last year for our 3-year, and they wanted to come back and party with us, so it's going to be great.
That's
Awesome.
that's a pretty legendary band.
Oh, they're
know?
amazing, yeah.
If you're a player, if you're a musician, you look at those guys and you're like, yeah, it's the real deal. I mean, multiple Grammy nominations, I believe 12 albums combined over the amount of time that they've actually played. Top tier musicianship. Definitely. And what a great venue to see them at. You're probably not going to get to see them in a more intimate and cool setting. So if you're into them, snag, get there early, do whatever you got to do to get in there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's going to be fun. They really are. I mean, people that haven't heard them, I mean, it's kind of like they were doing what the Black Keys did before the Black Keys were even a thought.
Indeed.
I mean, and so they really built that kind of like rock and roll blues, scene that just really has kind of come together for them, and just touring and doing huge festivals and all that. And then, yeah, like you said, Dan, like just, that being in our setting that way. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Even knowing that they were there, I was like, oh, really? Because I remember when you guys had them before, but to get them again, even better, and in such, again, I'll say it, in such an intimate setting, so you got to do whatever you got to do to get down there. It's cool to get some of the bands that have it's weird to me to see bands like this that are your kind of sleeper Grammy bands.
Yeah.
And I don't know, as a musician myself, it really it charges me up. It gets me excited to go out and see shows again,
Yeah.
How'd you guys end up getting them the first time? Because I didn't think they toured very much.
So last year they were touring. They were touring with a band called Blackberry Smoke, and so they were the opening band for them, the support for them, and then they played in Orlando, open for Blackberry Smoke when Dr. Phillips Center was still doing the yard parties, and all that. And then they went down south, and that tour ended. And so on their way back up, we just said, hey, we got a thing going on.
We got a little thing here.
All right, cool. So then they became the headlining act of that, coming off of that tour. And then from there, we've just kept a good relationship with their management and their peeps, and
Sweet.
Just make it happen.
Dan, not to sound like a grumpy old man.
Let's talk street construction.
Going back to street construction.
Is that where you were going to? I was joking. That was a joke. Oh man, you were serious.
Well, I'm sure as a business owner, when you look out the window, Tuffy's, and you see all the construction workers working hard and fast as they can to get. No, I'm joking. I'm sure every day you look out there and there's one guy digging and then 5 guys just looking at him, because that's what I see when I'm driving around. One guy digging and the rest of the guys just sitting there looking at him. And not to blame them. Listen, they work for the county. They can't get fired. Who cares? It's hard-ass work. It's a hard-ass job.
It's terrible.
It's hot outside. But I can imagine you looking out the window and be like, come on! Like,
As far as you've gotten.
You are in front of my business. I need my customers here, and you're out there with your bulldozers effing around.
Yeah, with all that fence and everything that's been up around it. I mean, the hardest part is actually walking away from my building and looking back. I mean, it looks like the building itself is in the construction zone. So, I mean, I can understand people walking up and just being like, I don't think they're open.
Yeah.
No, we are. I need like a sign spinner guy out there just like, come on.
And the best part about that is they never make the business that is handling this go out of their own pocket to put up new signage that demands, yes, we are open.
Yeah.
The city typically gives you money to take care of that, right? No. They never have. And they never will.
We'll put up some signs so we won't inconvenience you. No, they
No.
don't care.
Yeah, they make you do it.
Don't care.
Or if you don't have the money, you'll be out there with your own 4x4 beating it into the ground.
So how?
Now you got me doing it. Hit the button, Sam. We have an old man button now. When we start talking about old man stuff, she hits the button.
I do need one.
So Dan, since Music Box opened and everything, how's it been like booking acts and that whole side of the business? Because that's a whole different like deal. It's like getting but it seems like you guys have consistent
good lineup.
Good lineup coming through.
It's a weird one. I mean, it's definitely something that I've had to completely learn. I mean, it wasn't something that I did work in production and used to book, artists and talent, camera guys, animators, that kind of thing. So, you end up talking to agents and stuff like that. So I mean, the language kind of doesn't really change, but just the whole how you book bands, how you book artists to come in and do the things, and some want a versus door deal, others just want a flat guarantee, and it's just learning that whole side of the business has been insane, but it's been a lot of fun. I mean, so yeah, definitely keeping up relationships with some of these managers and agents, and just really kind of learning this whole new side of a business that I had no idea really
Sam,
existed.
write down make the business fun. That's something I feel like we lack around here.
Fun!
He hates fun. Tom hates fun.
I know it's going to be a
shuts it
bit of a
down.
challenge, but to hear Mr. St. Pierre talk about how, I did add the Mr. on there and buttering him up because he's fun. He likes fun. He's like, I got into something that I didn't know how to do, and it's challenging, but you know what? I find it rewarding and fun. That's something we don't do. We don't do anything like that. I haven't had fun in 5 years, and COVID stole 2 of those, so it's really 3 years.
That was all stress all the time.
Yeah,
that's
what
my
I thought,
motto.
too. I know you yell it in my face every day.
And then it doesn't help that every single band and a musical act is their own business, so operates in a different way. Like there's no standardization of like, oh, here's the standard rate for this guy. It's like every deal is different. So it's like I want to be paid in crypto.
Have you had anybody request to be paid in crypto?
Nobody yet in crypto.
Where
but
do you
we
stand
have
on
had some
NFTs?
Really weird ones. Yeah, exactly.
Where are you into the NFTs?
No, I don't mess around with
Okay.
them. I dabble a bit in the crypto, but not with the NFTs. It's just I don't understand. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it either. The crypto, I think I
wanna
understand.
learn one business
crypto
at a time.
seems like NFTs.
Oh, got us down.
But it seems like crypto is like one notch older than NFT. NFT is like minor league. Crypto is major league.
But you had some weird requests over the time.
Like we'll get some of the old heads that come in, some of the old classic rock guys that just, I think they still think they're playing like, hole in the wall biker bars that are like, we want cash before we even go up. And it's like, wait, I'm sorry, what? Like,
That's not like a threat.
Are you James Brown?
But it's also like I'm standing right here, like this is a legitimate business. You don't have to. I'm not going to.
My
cheat
name
you.
is right here.
Because it's kind of insulting, but I understand
They've probably gotten stiffed.
They've gotten stiffed, but it's still insulting when you're like,
Hold on a second.
I don't trust you.
Are they already
cash.
set up when they say that to you? Because I think little Danny'd call their bluff. I'd be like, okay, fine, pack your stuff.
That's fine, pack
it up. Pack it up.
Yeah, get out.
Yeah.
No, I had. I won't even. Well, it was.
You don't have to say.
It was Molly Hatchet. But
We've heard some things about them.
I opened for them. Did we talk about this before?
We've heard some things about
They were not nice to me.
I mean, this was
They
like
were
there
rude
were
to me.
still people. There were still people in the venue, and we had handed them their cash, and their tour manager, who was like, I mean, this guy must. I think he's been on the road for 100 years.
He is the road.
He is the road. He's become the road.
Yeah.
But he full on. I mean, people hadn't even left the venue yet, and he full on like started counting out money on the bar and was like to my guy Thomas. He's like, Thomas, get over here. We got a problem, man. And he starts counting it out, and Thomas is like, hey, man, I counted the money like multiple times. It's all
Thomas.
it's right. And he's sitting there counting out hundreds or whatever, and he's like, well. And then he just kind of like scoops it up, and he just goes, yeah, all right. And turns around and walks away.
Oh, my God.
What was the problem?
Well, he
The problem is I don't know how to count.
The problem is
I
I
never
counted
have.
wrong the first time.
I didn't graduate high school.
You look like the tour manager for Molly Hatchet. Sounds like the punchline to a joke. Like I know, I can envision what that looks like. and it's funny. Also, counting money that someone just gave you is also a little bit insulting.
Oh, it's
too.
horribly insulting. My dad used to tell me that, like when we go to do. This is a real dad story. I don't think I've
You're
told
like,
this.
by you doing that is telling me you think I'm cheating.
Yeah, my dad would say that. Like we'd go and buy something, he'd buy like some tools or something, and he'd hand the guy money. And then the guy would put it in his pocket or whatever, or vice versa. And I'd be
it's
like,
a sign of respect.
And I'd say to my dad, I'm like, why aren't they counting them? You got to count the money. He's like, not in front of the guy. He's like, if there is a problem, we can go back and settle it later. But you kind of in front of him, it's almost like you're already putting him on tilt.
Yeah.
You're letting him know that you don't like this guy. You don't think this guy's up to no good, whatever.
Yeah. And then I like the people that do it, and they're like, I'm sorry, I always count the money. And then I'm like, you don't need to.
Yeah.
You can just say, like, you trust me and put it in your
But
pocket.
I will say,
I didn't cheat you.
If you count the money, I mean, fine, count the money. I mean, it's business. If you get on the road and you're 100 miles down the road and then you realize you're, $50 short, and then, yeah, like, you're not going to turn around and be like, hey, you stiffed me. But, like, we had a private room. We've got an office, a green room. You can do all this stuff. I mean, there were people still in the bar, and he's like counting it all out on the bar. Like, you guys are trying to pull a fast one.
You can go to your car. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
do whatever you want.
Like, you know, you don't have to get 100 miles down the road. Just get you to pack everything up. And you're like, all right, time to count the money. And if it's short, we won't leave. I'll go back in the bar. But if it's, you know, just it's a non-insulting thing.
Now, I did question that one time. I performed a gig at Skull Kingdom here in town with Drew Garabo, sending you love, Drew. And we were at Skull Kingdom, and I still remember the name of the guy. He was dressed as Dracula. His name was Dave Balzini. He handed who Drew called him Dave Balzinia and made him mad because Drew's a 12-year-old. He says that all the time. And then the guy handed us our envelopes, and we went to count it, and he stiffed his money. And I was like, Dad, God damn it.
Oh, yeah. Then he's like, oh, I didn't know it was $300 for both.
Yeah, he gave me the old Balzini.
Yeah. And then you're like, you planned this, Balzini. I know you did. Because it says on the email.
You know when we did this all on the air like 20 years ago? Like, this is the same stuff. Drew did it. He's yelling at Dave Balzini. Dave Balzinia. I'll probably get an email from him.
Have you ever had like no one show up for a show? Like not to call anybody out, but just like
you mean the band or people?
Like no, like a band or performer. Like the tickets are sold, and all of a sudden, like I feel like that's what I'd be nervous about.
That gives me anxiety. Yeah,
like they're supposed to be here by 6 to sound check, and no one's there.
No one's there. No
things happen on touring too.
I don't like that.
We actually, oddly enough, it just happened to us on Friday.
No, really?
You're the worst, dude. Like this guy.
And it was Molly Hatchet.
They're back.
Damn it, Molly.
Yeah, it was Molly Hatchet. They said their Saturn EV broke down on the way to the gig. They didn't have any juice, only 100-mile range.
Yeah, it actually happened to us on Friday. We had a band, and it was like a whole night we were doing, and had a DJ like going to play in between sets and open and close the night. And, it turned out to be a good night, but this band, day before, it was on Thursday, they called and were like, we just realized that you're 2 hours away. And it's like, I go back to my emails and I'm like,
realized.
we've been talking to you since
Tom Van Dam.
we've been talking to you since March.
Yeah.
Like
This
knew
is
where
like when
we
I
were.
ordered my
Like,
weed
I
at the
don't know where
wrong
you
True
live,
Leaf
man.
location.
I don't know where you live, man. Like, I don't know. But we agreed to a price. We agreed to a thing.
Right.
But we're going to need a little extra. I'm like, okay, what are we talking? And so we negotiated a little bit and came up a little bit on ours to cover their travel or something like that. And it was like, I wasn't happy about it, but what are you going to do? And they still no-showed us.
No.
Yeah, so they no-showed. We're all blowing them up. Like the guy who introduced us to I'm calling him like, hey, this was your recommendation for this night, and they just no-showed. So the DJ was pumped because he was just like, yeah, I'll just play for 6 hours.
Yeah.
So he made a little extra money and he killed it. People still loved it, but they were bummed. We had a live band coming in and people were like, but for the most part they were understanding and still had a hell of a time.
Nice.
But that sucked. I mean, if we didn't have a DJ, we would have just been like, sorry guys, you want a burger?
Yeah. And it's like
Burger doesn't sound too bad, actually.
Yeah, we'll take you up on that.
Take a burger. Yeah.
there are a finite number of music venues that you could even perform in. So it's like you start burning a bridge, and it's like they all know, everybody knows each other, and it's like
your reputation gets tarnished.
Yeah, for sure. Like people, you talk to other music venues, and like people
faster
vouch
than
for,
you think,
and then all of a sudden, especially nowadays, like that word spreads around, and it's like, why would you do that to yourself?
It's got to be worse now. Okay, you asked this question, I think, last week. We were talking about like social media speeding things up, communication speeding things up. I can remember bands that my bands would play with that would have bad reputations, and how club owners get to a point where it's like you only get one chance.
Yeah.
It's
There's
just
a lot
one.
of bands out there.
Yeah, tons
Endless.
of bands, and it's almost like each one you can find could be better. And I can remember them getting like blacklisted. Can you imagine how much faster you could get blacklisted now if you were an unreliable band?
This guy is actually, I found him on Facebook, and he's like also has a handyman business, and so I'm like thinking about buying. Like,
has he got solar?
Buying burner phones and just calling him every couple of weeks and sending him somewhere. Oh man, I really need you to bid this job out.
That's what it feels like.
No, you just send him to some random address.
Well, he won't show up to his handyman job either. I've noticed in my time alive that the people people that do these type of things keep doing it. Like, no matter what business they're in, if they do it with their band, they do it with their handyman business, they do it with their wife, they do it with anything.
Yeah.
It's like it's a personality trait, and it's a bad at life POS. It's like it blows my mind that people don't think about like. This is only hurting you. Why are you doing this? Like, yes, like it barely hurt Tuffy's. The DJ played. He had a good night, but Tuffy's is gonna be like, well, I'm never gonna talk to you again.
Right.
Like, so what is you are the biggest? You're the biggest loser here, and you did it to yourself.
Well,
I don't understand.
You know me really well, and you know that it's extremely difficult for me to wrap my brain around the no call, no show, like, because I feel like no matter what, you've done something that's so horrible, like in the no call, no show, that you at least own it, right? You have to own it. You have to, like,
you knew at 2:00 you're not coming,
but you have to, and you have to call, or you have to at least. I say you have to call, but I will say you can text if you
Communicate
really should.
somehow.
You should call and talk like a man to the person and admit what happened. Obviously, and say you're sorry. But if you can't do that, you can text. If I can't wrap my brain around that, then no communication ever again. Like, and you're just turning away and saying, "Well, we can never go to Sanford again." Like, I don't. How do you do that as a person?
Now, I have done this before.
That's where I was going to go.
I was younger.
He knew I was going to switch to him and go like, "Now let's call in the expert. We have literally an expert on this."
And I will. Now I did it to Home Depot, and so who cares?
You've done it to Ray from Sea Ray. That guy's still on the
Ray
hook.
from Sea Ray.
He has an old man that sends him new boats to buy every morning. He curates a custom email of new boats for him to buy. This guy's been trying to find you a boat since before the pandemic.
And I will tell you, when like Home Depot expects you to be there at like 6 in the morning or whatever it is, or like for your shift, and then it's like 7:15, and they're blowing up your phone or whatever. Back in college, it was like they were calling my landline phone, and it was ringing.
Oh wow!
And then there is some sweet feeling of you just sitting there, and then as soon as that last ring stops, you're like,
They're not going to get me.
they know. Everybody knows. And then
Covers back over her head.
Yeah. You're like, oh, it feels so good not having to do anything. Anyway, but again, it's in my instance, it's Home Depot. They'll be fine.
And you got nothing from them. No explanation. No nothing.
No, zero things. Yeah, I mean,
That's crazy.
like I said, the guy that recommended them, I guess, talked to them the next day and was just like, "Hey, what the heck, man?" They just were like, "Yeah, no, I mean, it was just too far." And it was, but again, it's like, you called the day before, said it's too far, we want more money, and we negotiated a little bit more, and everyone agreed. It was like, okay, like I said, I wasn't pumped about it. It's like, this is the day before you had 2 months to Google us. Like you knew where we were, man. But no explanation, no nothing, but still turned into a fun night.
I relate to Bad at Life, so I know what happened. The guy you talked to.
Yeah, walk me through this. Because I'm literally clueless. I have no concept of this.
I'm the Blade of Bad at Life. Like, I understand both sides, the humans and the vampires.
How much for you to get the same haircut as Blade?
the bleach blonde.
You should do it.
The bleach.
I don't know if my hair will do that.
No, wait. I think Bleach Blood was Time Cop, or no, the other one, Judge Dredd, or whatever.
Demolition
Man. Sorry, I'm getting all of my horrible movies. I listed everyone but the right one.
So what happened?
Did you just wipe snow?
Yeah, that's chunky. Good
God,
Lord.
man.
So originally, the Tom Van that you talked to, he's the band leader. He's the businessman, and the other guys are just they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
So like he booked it. He's like, hey, I booked a gig. The Tuffy's is a place called Tuffy's Bottle Shop and Lounge in Sanford. Actually,
he didn't know Sanford.
He didn't know Sanford. He just said Tuffy's Bottle Shop, and they was like, oh, good. And they're smoking and drinking. No, they're not practicing. These type of bands, they don't even practice. They're like, we're good enough, no practice. Anyway, so then 2 days before, some of the band members are like, "Hey,
where are we going again, dude?"
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the place called Tuffy's. Hold on, let me look
yeah.
it up." He's like, "Oh God, it's in Sanford."
And that's 2 hours away,
yeah. They're in Brooksville.
We're in Brooksville.
But they're in like west.
We're in West Brooksville, which is way far.
Way further than that.
yeah. And they're like, "Oh God!" And they're like, "You only you're supposed to book us for more money for farther drives. Gas is."
Let's just stay here and watch the Lightning game, man.
Biden made the gas prices too expensive.
I know. Sleepy Joe sniffing all the hair, man.
And then, so then he calls you back, right? But he doesn't let the other band members know. He calls you back, and then he's like, "Hey, I didn't know it was this far," And then Dan's like, "All right, what do you need?
We need more money.
$100 more for gas. So like,
500 more.
And then you're like, okay, whatever. So you negotiate the deal and you get the money. Then he goes back to the other band members,
Or maybe he forgot.
who already in their mind like are not
They already
having
made plans.
Yeah, they already like, screw this. I'm not going. It's too far.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to a gun show.
and in their minds, they're not working because it's too hard to play music. Like they consider it work.
I'm going to Gatorland.
And so then when the guy's like, "Hey, they got him to pay us an extra $100 for gas," and they're like, "Oh God, I'm gonna go drink it tomorrow."
Too late, man. I'm getting my motorcycle license at Stormy Hill Harley Davidson.
And then the guy, because he's awkward and bad at life, he doesn't want to go back and tell you because you just had the conversation. You agreed on a price.
So he just pretends you don't exist.
And
then he never talked to you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, there were text messages sent like as late as like 4:30 and just like, "Hey, we're running a little bit late. It's going to be 6:45."
He's stringing you along.
So they even did
Tell you
that.
what
So,
you
I
want
mean,
to
like,
hear.
no, it was extra dick. I was just like, "What is this, man?"
Oh, that's
Stringing you along. They weren't even in the van.
Oh, let me defend this guy first. Because
Welcome back to the show where we bring in our clients and then we have Tom defend the people that screw them over.
Yeah, what the hell's happening?
This is a great new business idea that Tom's had. It's unconventional.
Because maybe he was still trying to be like, "Come on, guys, let's just go." I told this guy,
We're
like,
on the way. I told him we're on the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. And then they're like, "Nah,
I'm not going,
They're like,
man.
"I can't tell him." And then once like he realizes he's still like they're still on the couch and it's like 5:30 and they're not
We
going
can
to
still
make it.
make it, guys.
They
Then-
got the Champions Gate, and we're like, "Nah."
No, they didn't. Man, they never even got it.
They never even got-
Yeah. Because
they never even got in the
once
truck.
they pack in the van, like they'll go because they're not going to turn around.
Especially the drums. If the drums were moved, they were going.
Yeah. Because it's like
Too many pieces.
Yeah. In their mind, they did a bunch of work. They have to get paid. They never even loaded the van. They never even filled up the van. Like,
They're just nope.
Yeah, there's no van.
There is no van.
Yeah. But besides from that, most people, I guess I imagine that if you're a successful small band that's like even reached the level where you could play
Like
Tuffy's,
current gigs.
Tuffy's music box, you have to have had some sort of business acumen that got you this far. Like even to book Tuffy's, you got to at least have been like performing and playing for a certain amount of time, and you have to have kept it together.
You
that
certainly
long.
do
So
now.
let me tell you about this band that me and Tom Van have put together.
Can I play remote? Just put me on FaceTime.
We'll zoom in. Zoom concert.
Zoom.
Put us on the big screen.
put the mic up to the cell phone.
All right, let's tell them where this party is again.
Yeah,
so I want to
Dan.
make sure everybody can get the details
Yeah.
so they can get out
Tell
there.
everybody where to buy tickets, all that.
Yeah, on our website, tuffysmusicbox.com, you'll see the 4-year anniversary ticket link there. Tickets are still available. We've got general admission for $30, and then there's a VIP available for $60. The VIP will get you, because it's a street festival, will get you inside. You'll have air conditioning, your own bathrooms, that kind of stuff. So lots of fun. We've got lots of things planned, some good food specials. Have a couple other food trucks coming. And Swine and Sons will definitely be there doing their thing.
Yeah.
But,
Special thanks
we've
to
got
Mo.
Sam. Oh yeah, special thanks to Mo.
Yeah,
And,
Mo DeWitt.
Mo is everywhere.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
Big
Yeah.
sponsor out there.
Oh, he's
Most
awesome,
sponsor.
man.
You're like, Mo.
I know. He
Yeah,
just did a
they're
Cinco
Sponsors
de
everything.
Mo.
Yeah, Mo is
He does
everywhere.
on hot sauce.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Swine
Hot
and
sauce.
Sons. Swine and Sons going to be out
Yeah.
there, so
Yeah.
they got that. And then, like he said, more food trucks to be added. It's going to be something for everybody out there. It's going to be
North
awesome.
Mississippi All Stars. Yeah, Don't miss them.
Yeah, if you again, I can't reiterate enough that like if you guys like that style of like kind of like garage blues, if you like it like funky and dirty, you're gonna want to get out to this show.
Yeah,
Great venue
they're
too.
good.
Yep. Go to tuffysmusicbox.com for all of the information, or tuffycider.com. Dan, thanks so much for
thank
coming
you.
in. We appreciate it, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Dan, didn't need to say that, but I felt the need to scream my name because my voice is still a little. It's back, but how's yours doing?
It's better.
You lost your voice, then Sabrina lost her voice, then I lost my voice. Saturday, I had no voice at all, completely gone. Best gift I could have given my wife. She loved it. Absolutely the happiest woman alive.
Yeah. Mine came back, but been struggling with it all
Yeah.
weekend.
Allergies, the magnolias are getting me hard, man. I mean, phrasing. What?
So what's the new social media trend out there?
Well, Sam.
This is old. This
is
isn't new.
old. And I think this is like decades old. I mean, there are people that enjoyed this. I believe this is fairly rooted in Asian culture.
Yeah.
The,
It became popular in South Korea in 2010.
and you got to say it like this. You got to say the mukbang.
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 And it's you sit in front of the camera and you eat a bunch, a huge
Yeah,
meal.
various quantities of food while interacting with the audience.
And you kind of talk. You know,
Yeah.
you got to. I don't think you can just sit there and eat. I actually think you need to engage.
Yeah.
Is it
Mukbang.
okay? Just like AMSR, where there are people that are attracted to that particular content, whether it be because it makes them calmer or they just have some sort of fetish they didn't realize they had. And I say fetish.
I honestly don't see the appeal in it. I don't like to watch people eat.
Well, I think some people, that's what the same thing with the ASMR. I don't see the appeal in it, but I understand that some people do. But I think some people, like just like ASMR, have some sort of like positive feelings, or like I hate to use the word fetish because like sexualize it, but not like sexual thing. It just
Well, not all fetishes are sexual.
yeah. I guess you could say fetish, right? It's
I probably,
it's appealing to watch people eat, or they like it in some
Yeah,
manner.
that term has probably been stolen by, or used
Yeah.
primarily. But yeah, I think a lot of fetishes, fetish can revolve around anything, right? Like you could say, I have a taller woman fetish, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's disrespectful or really weird.
But you don't seek out like content with taller
No,
women.
I don't.
Like beyond porno or whatever. You know
I don't
what I'm
even
saying?
do that. Like I don't even go I don't go to porno sites and type in tall.
I look
I
at
take what
Amazon.
I
every
take
once
what
in
I
a while.
got. You know,
You look up Amazon every once in a while?
Yeah, well, like just
he
because.
likes snakes. This
No,
guy's a
no,
snake. Oh.
Amazon women.
Oh,
Like, it's
I
a
thought you just
category
like the
of
jungles.
porn.
I thought you jungle porn.
It's big in Asia too. It's like Amazon women and tiny, slight
Men,
and then they pick them up and throw them around. And,
yeah,
like,
they toss them around. They like smash
they
their face
They
into
do
a
the
pie.
gravitron. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Then they do this move where they put their butt on their face and they try to kill them with their butt.
So some people.
The only thing I watch with people eating is Hot Ones.
I don't like any of that because I don't like the fact that they're eating during the interview.
I think Hot Ones is fake.
Do you?
Yeah.
like the hot sauce isn't that
Yeah,
hot.
I just don't. I think if you really did it, you'd have like people crying and barfing.
You
There's
see
just,
that though.
But I mean full on projectile spraying, and you don't really see. I want to see like,
I've seen pukers and definitely seen criers.
and I want to see like
Gaggers.
really famous people spray puking.
I never got
Like that video of Mike Busey on Instagram where he spray puking into the sink. That's a good video.
Oh, we're gonna talk about this.
Hats
on
off
the
to
BDM
you,
show.
Busey, for being a real man and spray puking your RV sink.
But just like Hot Ones, when people were telling, "Oh, you got to watch the Hot Ones interview,"
They are good interviews, but that guy knows his stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's a good personality.
great.
Yeah.
I never understood the appeal of the hot, like having them eat hot wings.
I
and
think
being
it's
a-
also you get more of an honest answer, I think, because they're focused so much on their mouth being on fire that they're just like saying whatever, you know what I mean? They're not like contemplating the answer.
It really
So is that
depends
part
on,
of the psychology?
I don't know.
behind it?
That's
Oh.
just my theory.
I think
That
that's
could
what
be
they're
correct.
going on. I think what they're going on is that you're having to do something that will distract you
Right.
from the interview. But like to me, it would be. I think I could lie better eating. I'd be so angry that the wings are burning me that I'd be an excellent liar.
Well, I think that interviews done in an uncomfortable situation with cameras in your face in a production studio, like, are, in my opinion, not the best interviews. Like, it's like for years, like,
Oh,
wow.
God.
That was thick,
Something
man.
flew over here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
did
it
it
got on my
fly?
hat. It got on my hat.
Sorry, I
You're
came out
supposed
of
to
nowhere.
spit that before you come
I
in
tried. I tried.
That's the monster trying to get out of your throat.
It's still lingering. Sorry. But for years, like
It's the dude from the Mucinex commercials.
Yeah.
like Howard Stern has been touted as a really good interviewer, and he gets good information from celebrities, right?
Yes.
And a part of that I always attributed to like his studio setup and the fact that you're sitting on a couch, you're in a dark room. Howard Stern is kind of far away from you, so you're listening. Like you're kind of talking to him like a phone call where, in the way his setup is, it looks like he's surrounded in computers and he's going to sit back in his nook and then there's a couch over there, but it's dark and it's like an inviting
It's
situation.
calming. It's not aggressive.
That's why I have my studio like that.
Yeah. And it's true. And like
It makes people more relaxed for sure.
And the psychology behind that makes sense to me. It's like, oh, you sitting down, relax. And I've seen it throughout the years, even with our own experience, like you get a better interview over the phone when someone just feels comfortable, like because they don't have cameras on them.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you have cameras on you, you're in a studio, like you are aware 24/7, like aware every second that you are being filmed and
being
you're on a
watched,
stage, so like I feel like you're guarding your words or you are thinking about what you're saying because you're like, oh God, everybody's watching me. And then you want someone to be relaxed and tell you the truth and make it feel like it's just a conversation between both of you. But then the hot ones, you're in a studio with cameras and lights and you're eating hot sauce and you're standing, which is weird too, right?
Are they standing?
No,
they're not standing. I thought they were standing.
I think they're sitting.
no, they're sitting.
Oh, okay.
Well, you're the only person I know that eats his chicken wing standing up, which is weird. He has a rule about it.
I thought they were always at like a bar top, or is that a bar top like stool they're sitting in?
That's
A tiny table with like sauces
okay.
lined up and wings.
What are you watching? You're watching something else.
Yeah, he's watching porno. He's watching Amazon
Different
porno.
hot ones.
Yeah. I don't. It just maybe it is the hot sauce that gets people out of their comfort zone. That
It's
gives
not
them better
truth
interviews.
serum. It's not like you're giving them MDMA and they can't control
He
their
doesn't
emotions.
really ask like invasive questions either.
Hard hitting,
Yeah.
But that's
He has deep questions though.
But it makes me because people have always like told me, oh, you got to watch the Hot Ones interview with Seth Rogen or whatever it is. And then I'm like, but is the interview that good?
I find them very interesting.
So
I think he's the best interviewer on that type of show.
can he do it without the hot wings then?
Yeah,
because
just interview
That's
people.
the whole thing.
Well, he
I
should
want
be
to
the
hear the
thing.
good interview. Like I don't care that their mouth is burning from the hot sauce. Like it doesn't give me like it's not.
I think I'm
Jackass.
with you on this, yeah.
Like who cares that
I don't need the hot sauce wing part.
that Seth Rogen's mouth is burning from hot sauce? Like in fact, that's a distraction to the actual interview. Like I want to
But it
hear
makes
him
it more relatable because they are doing it, right? That's the vibe.
I assume that if he eats hot sauce just like any other human, it's burning his mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like it never. It's like, oh, he feels the heat like I do. Like it
Well,
doesn't.
there'd be a lot of people that wouldn't do it just based on their severe diet issues, right?
Like they don't like hot stuff.
Well, like some celebrities are so important in their own world that they don't even eat chicken wings, right?
I mean,
Like Tom Brady does not eat chicken wings.
no. Well, he's a top tier athlete.
But I know, but I'm saying, like, he's had Shaquille O'Neal on there. He's had, the most famous people in the world on there.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think a lot of these people take themselves very seriously, and they don't eat chicken wings. I think chicken wings are considered to be like what us normos and trash people eat,
Yeah.
right?
I think Shaq eats some damn chicken.
Oh,
wings.
yeah, for sure.
Well, Shaq is
I know,
also a weirdo in how relatable
Yeah,
he
yeah,
is. Like,
yeah.
if Shaq were outside right now and I walked up to him and said, "Hey, Shaq, I'm Dan," he'd be like, "Hey, Dan, what's up?" He'd shake my hand. That's
Yeah, yeah.
That's Shaquille O'Neal.
So who is considered like all right? In the sports world, Pat McAfee has been getting a lot of heat recently, and like an attention and stuff, and then like he's blown up. And I don't even know. I don't follow him. I don't listen to him or whatever. But other people talk about how big he's become. I don't know where he came from, but I think he's an independent. he does his own media, right? Like I don't think he's
Just like an independent journalist, or
Well, I think he's a YouTuber and social media influencer, but I think he works for himself.
is there going to be a new term, or or influencer is it? Is that it?
I think that's it.
Man, I hate that. I feel like there should be a better term for people that like, right? Influencer sounds weird. Like it just doesn't.
It's so generic that anybody can call themselves
Well,
an influencer.
I know people that do, and I laugh in their face. I'm like,
Everybody
oh my
on the
God.
circle's an influencer.
Well,
Yeah,
I
come
think that's why they use it because everybody.
You can't really pin down what they do.
Yeah, if they're on TikTok, YouTube, or podcast, or whatever, it's just like broad. It's like broadcaster.
Well, that's not us, right? Because I said broadcaster last week, and you wouldn't let me live it down. You're like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So are we influencers? Because I don't want to say that.
Yes, but we're old already. So
Old
we're
influencers.
We're past the relevancy of
No
like, current
influencers.
time.
We're no influencers.
No influencers.
So like,
Bird influencers.
is
I
there
don't want to be associated with birds.
Okay.
besides? There's not really one guy that's the top of the heap when it's so spread out and segmented now that everybody has their massive following, but there's not like, back like a reference Howard Stern. There used to be like Howard Stern was the best at radio.
Yes.
Right? There's no one guy that's the best at influencing. It's spread out too
Casey
much.
Kasem.
Right.
How dare you?
Casey Kasem.
No, well, as far as radio
He's been
goes,
dead for
yeah.
20 years.
There's not one. I guess Mr. Beast is up there, right? In top 10.
Certainly up there.
But so is
yeah.
Logan Paul. You could put him up
Yeah.
in their top 10.
But I think a lot of these guys have moved on. Not that they're moving out of their space at all, but they're so big now that they're kind of spiraling in different directions. So the YouTube aspect of what they do, although it's still the main way that they connect and make their money, they're doing other things,
Oh, it's everything now,
more, I don't want to say legitimate, because YouTube is just as legitimate as mainstream TV or movie. It's just as important, if not more important.
But more like product businesses.
Yes,
yeah.
direct to consumer, doing their own products, doing their own like restaurants, doing their own like more than just YouTube video equals clicks equals money.
Well, because big business has come to them and probably started making deals, right?
Yeah.
I'm
and
so old. I'm looking at all like the top 9 social media influencers, and I don't know any.
All right, give me 9 and see if I know
All
one.
right, let me go down to 9. Well, I know Selena Gomez.
Yep, no.
I wouldn't count her as an influencer. She's an artist. Yeah, she's got
also-
a big following
she's
on
also
social media, but she's an
older.
artist
She's
first.
also older, too.
Nobody would follow her if she was an artist.
Correct.
right?
But if you make more,
See, I don't even like this list. Nike is number 9. Come on. They're not an influencer. Zach King. Anybody familiar with Zach King?
never heard of him.
Internet personality, illusionist, and filmmaker.
Nope.
Is that the young kid that does magic?
There's a lot of
He
young kids that do
doesn't look
magic.
that
I know
young.
young magic kid.
You know, my favorite magic kid was the one you used for that telethon we did back in the day. The amazing Ryan, or what was his name? The amazing. Oh, it's Thomas. He was your name. It was the amazing Thomas.
Kayla Itzines, who is an Australian personal trainer, author, and entrepreneur.
Nope.
Don't know her.
Nope.
KB Lame.
KB, I know KB.
Don't know him.
Yeah, KB I know from TikTok. That's the black guy that always
Used to be an Italian factory worker.
he'll take like you doing things too hard, and he'll show you while you're stupid, and it's like learn from KB. Yeah, I follow him.
Ooh,
Okay.
I got so
See, I'm not that old. I know KB.
Ryan. Okay,
Huda Katan or Huda Katan.
let's talk about this. Ryan Reynolds does this thing on TikTok where he just
You follow Ryan Reynolds on TikTok?
no, he shows up on my algorithm.
Yeah, he's on mine too.
I don't got him.
Where he just watches videos and then makes like a slight emotional response to each crazy video he watches, and then he puts it out, right? Either he does or his people, I don't know.
Right.
But it's just, all it is a different crazy video, and then it goes back to Ryan Reynolds on like, FaceTime, filming himself, and then he's like, does a little upward eyebrow or a little expression like that.
Right.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
Then I saw Brad Pitt doing it. And then I was like, wait a minute. Did you just steal this from...
They're
like-
probably obligated by their like publicist, right? You got to put a TikTok out this week. And it's just a
they're
reaction
too-
video.
But they're too big to be obligated by
They're
anyone.
trying to stay relevant with young people.
Is that what it
Yes.
is?
Oh, it's sad. Brad
It
Pitt's
is
on
sad.
TikTok.
Well, what I'm asking, because Ryan Reynolds does the, hey, I'm watching something, I do a little emotional response, and then, like, you can't do it,
Yeah,
Brad
but he's
Pitt.
trying to stay hip.
Well, but is that, I only see that content from...
But that's what everybody does. See, okay, hold on.
Is that a thing?
What you're
Yes.
describing is everyone on social media. One person does it, and then everybody says, "Oh, I can be famous like Ryan Reynolds, and I'll do the same thing."
Yeah,
what you're describing
reaction
is basic social media skills. Everybody that's on social media right now, even the people that are popular, just stole that idea from somebody else.
Well, yeah, but they're not Brad Pitt. If I was Brad Pitt, I would be like, well, I can't do the same thing Ryan Reynolds is doing. So, like, I have to do my own.
It.
Yeah, everybody's doing it. At this point, it's like,
we should be doing it.
Yeah, it's Ice Bucket Challenge, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing
Everybody's just doing reaction.
You do the fist. 1, 2, 3, answer a dumb question.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's the different things, but I'm saying specifically just film yourself and just do the...
I'm just glad we're beyond that time when all videos on TikTok were a guy holding 50 sheets of paper and he'd write one word on there. He keep holding up like, I have Crohn's disease. It is terrible. People ask me about my Crohn's. It's like, oh my God, just say you have Crohn's. You don't need to do the paper. You know what? You're going to poop your pants writing all those note cards.
It is all garbage.
It's all. I've been saying this. It's all garbage.
I keep scrolling, even on stuff I want to see the end. I'm like, no, like, what's next?
No.
I'm just like, maybe something's better than that. Even I'm like, what's gonna happen with the ball hitting the trampoline next?
No, I don't even see it. This is why we're business partners. I make Andrea so mad. We were watching a movie the other night, and I got like almost to the end of it, 20 minutes left to the climax of the movie, and I go, this sucks. And I turned it off. She goes, what are you doing? I go, I don't need to see the ending. It sucks. She's like, well, we're committed. I'm like, I'm not committed to anything except for marriage to you.
Oh, our society is doomed. Bye-bye.